Hey, welcome to Creative Block. We're your hosts, V.
And Sean, I'm finding my place on the notes, aka Lord Spew. We talk shop with other creatives in comics and animation about things like finding your artistic path and the process of making art while we doodle on Magma.
And today we have with us episode 200 with the whole crew.
Yippee! We have episode 200 with us. We have the whole crew with us. And this is a behind-the-scenes episode where you get to hear about how the magic happens. And these are the magicians.
Yes, so welcome to the stage, Clemens, Ebuka,
Hello.
and Marco.
Hello.
Now, I'd love to, just for anybody that might not have heard the last episode where we had you guys on, I'd love to hear from each of you, what your name is, what you do for the show, and then maybe what you're up to right now. If there's a creative project you're involved in, if there's anything you're excited about, anything the audience should go help support. Why don't we start with Ebuka?
Hello, I'm Ebuka. I make the clips that go on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Right now, I just finished working on the animation just today or just last night. By the time this pod comes out, it should be out on my YouTube and on my Instagram. A little Batman and Superman thing that took too long to make, but it's all right.
But
it's all right.
It's really cool because you used Blender and Harmony. It's I don't know. It's really impressive.
So wait, when's that? It's going to be out by the time this episode comes out?
Yeah, not to date the pod, but by February 8th. It should be out.
What's your social media so people can go check it out?
It's just my name, Ebuka Afoma, but the O's a 0 because it was taken. And that's an underscore.
Hell yeah! Well, that's super exciting.
Yeah. And so that's coming out this Saturday. And then I have other stuff in the pipeline. I won't say now. I'll say it later when it's more cooked.
Other shorts
Yeah.
You're working on?
Other shorts in the pipeline.
Gotta line up.
I've been cooking.
Chef Ebuka.
Should call them pants.
Chef. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, you've always done like a lot of short animation on. Where did you post them primarily?
At first it was YouTube, but there was this one social media called VidMe. During this time, I was not usually going to die, so I put up stuff on VidMe a lot. The VidMe died, so I have lots of this just lost forever. But now it's just Instagram and YouTube. I think that's where I'm just going to hang out now.
Very cool. I'm excited to see your short. Is there any what style would you say it's in? I heard that you're using some interesting is it like rigging techniques or something?
Yeah, it's all rigged animation. All the backgrounds are made in Blender, and then try to composites to look really flat to kind of match the style of the old Super Friends cartoon. So I think it came out cool. I like how it looks a lot. So there's lots of compositing issues I had to get past, like how to make this color this thing, how do I layer this to work properly. But it was a cool ease into what I want to do later this year.
That's so cool. Well, what about you, Marco? Who are you, and what are you doing?
Hello, I'm Marco. I'm the producer for the podcast. That just means I'm wrangling all these doggies to get some work done back into the farm. Mostly, so for work, I work for a nonprofit, and so during the day, I'm at a school helping kids with their writing.
Whoa, that's sick.
So, fun projects I'm working on right now. I'm working with a philosophy teacher to create it's basically teaching the students how to write D&D one-shots.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's so sick.
But I've never played a one-shot or I've never DM'd, so it's like a learning process across the board for every single aspect of it. But yeah, it's been fun. I like writing puzzles like that where it's I'm figuring out how to do this thing. I did it with TV writing and all different kinds of writing, and then this was sort of felt like that, scratching that puzzle brain itch. It's pretty cool.
That's so fun. I feel like taking things that are fun and finding ways to introduce learning into a gamified thing is really rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think it makes it more fun for the students, but for me, it was like, like I had to learn. I'm not a philosophy major. I didn't study like, I didn't even take like a philosophy class like in high school.
Are you a D&D
So-
major?
Yeah, I am. Studied in magicology, minor in dragons.
Wait, how does the philosophy come into this whole entire equation?
The teacher, she watched this, or she listened to this podcast where I guess they at
This
some
podcast?
point, this podcast, this very one. It was this podcast called Dungeons and Daddies, and then at some point they had like an episode that was like philosophy based, and so I think she had just started teaching the class and thought like, oh, this would be awesome to do.
What
And,
type of daddies are we talking about? Like fathers?
you know, it's like character based podcast where like every season they play like different sets of daddies. Is kind of a fun idea. So
I
like
think
the
they're
first
bad daddies.
they're I think it's like a mix of, it's like a boring daddy, a bad daddy, a good daddy, and like, you know, a scumbag daddy.
Okay. And still, I'm not quite clear about whether it's daddies in the power dynamic way or daddies as in fathers. But, but either
yeah,
way,
it's
sounds
fathers.
cool.
They're fathers.
This is cool. Cool. Great.
I thought it was a Patreon exclusive 18 plus kind of vibe.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this daddy's D&D S&M. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
But yeah, that's all I do. We also publish books with their like student writing. So I'm also working towards that. So these are like two really big creative writing projects that I have like in the pipeline that I'm just anticipating a lot of work for, but I'm excited for.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's a lot actually.
It's like a third of what I have to do also.
Oh my god.
Yeah, usually my days are very, very busy. It's like either I'm working with a student, I'm going for meetings, I'm going to another school, you know, jumping in between classes like every single period. Yeah, it's a lot of walking. I go through a lot of shoes.
What is it like now being like, you're not exactly a teacher, but you're the authority figure at a school. What is it like now being on that side of the, because all I'll ever know in my life is being a student at school. So you
it feels weird, just mostly because I'm you know, I was never, not to say like I was anti-authority, but you figure out the system at a certain point, and then you're like, oh, I can just coast off of this what I just figured out, or like I, you know, figure out a teacher's like secret code to like get them to talk for a long time so that you don't do work, like that kind of stuff.
That's the best.
So being on the other side of that, I get to be like, you know what you're doing right now? I did it too. It's not gonna work. Or like, hey, the trick to looking like you're working while you're looking at your phone is to hold a pencil in one hand and hold the book with the other, so it looks like you're writing. So it's a lot of tricks for how to be a bad student. I try not to be like the authority figure in the space. I'm mostly just like the fun uncle that comes in and like creates chaos for a little bit and then just leaves the teacher to deal with the ramifications of it.
That's so funny.
And then we have Clem.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Clem. I am the editor, both audio and video. I make miracles happen, no big deal.
That's true.
I mean, you're getting us out of dangerous situations when we talk about things we shouldn't.
We have a lot. Sometimes there's some. No, okay, Clem, because you're the one actually listening. How many dangerous situations have you
Gotten us out of?
Yeah, this year.
Well, you mean this last month? Right?
Yeah.
Whichever is best for you to.
Test 2024. Probably a solid 5 or 6.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Just on the NDA side of things. And then there's probably like 2 or 3 industry drama rants that could have gotten people in trouble, I think.
We've had a few spicy guests that they like to talk about.
I think one of the spiciest guests that we had who didn't mind not being edited was probably JJ Villard.
And we were like, we're gonna need to edit that part. Like, I don't think he wanted to be edited, but we were like, I think we have to make sure that JJ comes out of this
unscathed. But
yeah.
Did we keep the goat? We kept the goat.
Most of it was kept. The goat, I think, was kept.
It
was just one thing that I'm not gonna mention it because that's the point of editing it. But yeah.
I was so
some parties deserve to be left in shadow, in the shadow of past events, for sure.
If you're curious for context about what the goat is, go back and watch the episode.
Oh my god!
Because out of context,
it's episode 179. It's such a wild episode. It's one of my favorites just because it's so crazy and wild. And then it just kind of started getting quoted by, I don't know, left and right on Twitter, and even in on 4chan. I saw some people referencing it.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. I know. We made it. They're like, they listen.
I remember there was one person that was real mad because they were trying to harvest JJ Villard facts, and we kept making jokes and laughing, and they were like, dude, if I have to listen to one more, how'd they phrase it? One more Gen Z laugh, like I'm gonna freak out. Like is he French or not? Like, so mad.
Yeah, I think they were mad at us that we were laughing about we weren't laughing at his name. We were just laughing at ourselves at how we were having troubles pronouncing it. But I think for the listener, it came off like we were being really rude to JJ Villard, the god, the idol. So
I interpreted it as he didn't think what we were saying was funny, so we were being disruptive by having like a laughter back and forth. And instead of honing in on the juicy JJ facts, we were like joking and having a casual conversation, which is what it is. We're having a casual conversation, and it's nice when facts come out of that. But I remember it was at the beginning of the pod, and I was like, what do you expect us just to like, okay, question number 1, and like we're just like, we were trying to ease in,
For everybody listening, comment below. Do you think we should have more facts in the episode or more jokes?
And comment below if you want us to stop laughing. Because there's another mean comment that V pulled up recently during I believe the comment was on the Ego Raptor episode.
Oh.
And someone was like, can they stop laughing? Can they mute them?
This was an episode way back in the day when like we were figuring out a bunch of stuff, and like my audio setup was not great, and on top of it I was really, really anxious because Ego Raptor is really like famous, and I was like, oh my god, and I didn't know him that well, and I'm still not very familiar with him, like not intimate, and so I was just like, so stressed out. And so when I'm stressed out, I laugh. And then a lot of comments on this episode are really like, they're like, no laughing, woman. It's episode 58. You can all be the judge of.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we were able to see the video too, it's just you like twirling your hair like, oh, you go around there. I'm gonna draw it.
It's so funny. No, but yeah, I was really anxious during that episode.
I mean, I didn't realize that you were anxious during that episode, so I think they're just being haters.
No, I think they're just being haters. People are just mean. I don't want you to stop laughing.
Never stop laughing.
Listen, put it in the comments. Do you want V to stop laughing.
Here's an interesting thing. This is a little spicy. I want to hear from the chat comment below, but also I want to hear from Clem, who has to listen to us a lot.
Yeah.
What are there things that V and I say too much, like whether it's a word or a phrase that every time we say it you're like, oh my god, you're saying that again? Or like, is there a story or something where you're like, in the, you know, our new resolution for episodes 201 onward are not to do that thing or say that thing.
Okay. Well, V's favorite word is like.
Oh yeah, I know.
But it's okay.
Guilty as charged.
It's okay, because it's usually integrated pretty well into the sentence, so it doesn't stick out as much as a really long Otherwise, Sean, you repeat sentences a lot.
Oh my god, dude, I am so sorry. I know I do it. I know I like stutter and then I restart the sentence over and over, and it takes me forever to say what I need to say.
It's okay. I don't.
I shouldn't be a podcast host. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, I forgive you.
But yeah, I mostly edit out long pauses while guests are thinking of answers. And especially, most of them start talking with an that's really distinct, so that's usually what I cut out.
Yeah.
And then when there's multiple tech issues, like, which episode was it where the mic kept flipping between a camera and their actual microphone?
Oh no, that was
Kobold
Kobold's Crossing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, we couldn't figure that one out, and we spent a really long time trying to troubleshoot that with them. And they were great. They were so helpful, but the three brains together were not enough.
No, we were just like, Clem is going to really show off the editing skills on this one.
Well, the editing skills came in to make it seem like there were no issues, so I don't think... Well, I mean, I hope that no one's gonna notice.
Dude, hell yeah. So stoked.
I thought you were going to be like, oh, every time you guys say creative block, I just want to pull my hair out. Every episode.
You keep saying creative block.
You keep saying, no one has creative block. They're just on the show.
You know,
after 200 episodes, we figured it out.
Yeah,
creative block is not real.
This show is just a scam. Sorry, guys.
I remember there being a take like a few years ago. It's like creative block doesn't exist. If you have it, you just don't like drawing enough.
Oh my god.
I remember like in like 2012-ish, that was like a really big take I saw here and there. Maybe not, maybe like 2016.
I mean, we've had a guest who said that. I forgot who that was. We had a guest. Okay, this is a pop quiz for everyone here. Who was the guest who said they didn't have creative block? And then
shoot.
Shauna and I had to press them and be like, no.
Was that Ben? Do you want to know?
It could have been Ben. Yes. Whoa, Shauna, I think it was Ben Chuono. Yeah.
I think it might have been.
And then we had to be like, no. But when there's a problem that you don't know how to solve, we had to yeah.
He's like, no, I know how to solve all the problems. Yeah, he's just not someone with a whole lot of issues.
Yeah, that
must be nice.
I wish.
Yeah, if you get creative block, you should just quit being an artist. You're not built for it. Sorry.
Wow.
For reference, that is a joke. It is not true. I am spreading lies on the internet. It's misinformation.
Clem, could you edit in underneath that to say that was true? All of that was true. What you just said.
Yeah, Clem, edit that. Get that. Thank you.
Oh, my challenge is for V to come to bring some new descriptive adjectives when you like something. You use cool a lot and you use amazing a lot.
Oh
yeah. And so I want to hear some inspiring, magnanimous. I want to hear some I want to hear some new creative ones this year.
Yeah.
We got it.
So-
We're stepping up.
You're not allowed to say that's so funny anymore.
You can't say that's so funny. You can't say that's so cool. You can't say that's
No!
amazing.
Those are my cheat sentences.
No, I know, but now,
I can't
now
live without them, or else I don't speak.
I'm picking apart your speech. No, we're gonna go with like oh my god, riveting.
Riveting.
Oh,
Enthralling.
enthralling.
I'm gonna have the thesaurus open now every time. Oh my! That's
Or just start being like, start saying bussin'.
Oh, bussin'. Yeah.
No,
That
If you want to
animation
relate
was
to the
bussin'.
kids, yeah.
Yeah.
we're supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the Sarah Koenig, and
Yeah.
Sean is supposed to be the funny guy. So Sean is the one who has to say bussin',
Just say
and I have to
word.
be the one who says riveting.
Word.
Yeah.
Period. Period. Queen.
Word.
Slay.
Bustling, busting, busting. Yeah, no,
Inspiring.
and
How
your
intriguing.
Oh, I like how you say that. Intriguing.
Gwing.
That reminds me how there's
That's
this.
because I never say these words. No, and then people will know.
No, it's
it will be
perfect.
too
No, it's perfect.
obvious.
I want it. No, but we
No,
need you
I
to
want it.
practice them. This is the practice. No, it reminds me of there's this Penguin documentary that Benedict Cumberbatch narrates, and very quickly you realize he's not able to say the word penguin in like consistently, and so he's like the penguins. he calls them penguins. Through the whole
Wait,
documentary, there's like super cuts of every time he says the word penguin in this documentary that's all about penguins he narrates.
that is so. Wait, is he Australian? What's his
Apparently
Yeah,
name?
he's like British, even worse.
He's from the UK.
Wow, I guess we have to apologize to all of our UK guests.
Clem, we're gonna need an edit on.
Yeah, Clem
On
did
this
that.
one.
Thanks.
That's so funny. Okay. And I said it again.
Yeah,
No,
put
no,
up a,
and you're gonna
put
get
up
in
a
your head, and
counter.
I know you're gonna get in your head about it, but you need to get in your head about it so that you can move on from it. And I'm trying to help you grow. And you guys told me that I repeat sentences a lot, and I'm gonna try my very hardest to be concise this year.
I believe in you guys.
Oh my God. Okay, I want to ask everyone in the crew if you had an episode from this year, so an episode from 2024, that either was really inspiring or I guess that you were really excited about, or like something that like stood out to y'all. I want to know for Ebuka, Clem, and Marco, which one was your like the episode that you remember from this year?
As I pull up the episodes,
Same. I'm pulling them
I
up
don't
right
got them
now.
memorized. Pull up.
You don't have
Oh.
our entire podcast memorized?
No, all the guests
No.
are faceless voices to me. I don't know these people. Like, no hate. I love them all, but they're pixels to me.
What's your question again? I forgot the question.
Me?
I got
My
my answer
question-
though.
Yeah, what was the question again about the guests?
An episode from this year that stood out in any.
I liked Pen Ward's episode. Basic take, boo womp, but I thought it was fun. That was a cool exercise in coming with an idea for a show and kind of making one along with making one at home as well. Kind of fun to kind of go through and see how Pen does that process compared to some other people I've heard.
That was probably I mean, like, my job is to, whenever we have a record, is to compile any questions, comments, prompts. So that was probably the funner episode to do that for, because there was like hundreds of them, and I had to go through and like
Sounds
make
so
them
fun.
make sense. I had to make them
That
make
sounds
sense.
so fun. There's a billion things you have to do. No, I'm
It was-
just kidding. No, we're fun.
Marco just really like working hard. Like Marco's like, I want to have a lot of work for every episode.
It was just like some people had some really creative like full premises that I had to like just chop into bits so that they would fit components, because some of them were like, this is my pitch that I want Penn to do like exactly as is, and I was like, well, I'll take the setting and the character and, you know, like this and that, and put it in different categories so that when we randomize it, it still makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun one to do that for. There's also like the weirdest one in terms of comments, because it's like they either are on board right away or they're like, I turned it off 5 seconds in. All these little sound effects, no thank you.
Oh, the pen one? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
they didn't like the sound effects? I don't even remember that. That's so funny.
Yeah, he started with like a reverb. It's like hello, 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 hello.
I don't know why that cracks me up. I don't know. It's very, listen up. How do you say in English? What's the expression for someone that's like a really like good audience that like will laugh at anything?
Good sport.
Yeah, I guess I'm a good sport in that way. You just do funny sound. I'm like, wow.
I feel like, in a weird way, the Joel Trussell episode was kind of cathartic for me, because it was a show I was let go from, and I sort of confronted him on the show about how Pickle and Peanut was conducted, and I think it was a really healthy conversation, and I felt good coming out of it. So, and in a kind of a selfish therapeutic way that other people had to listen to, I thought that it was an interesting one.
I think that's so funny that you bring it up because, okay, for everybody listening, story time. But I did want to get Joel on the podcast, and because he's a showrunner, and I mean, I personally had a good experience with him, but I also think he's kind of like a funny, like kind of like
Yeah.
like aloof kind of guy, and so I was like, oh, I would be really cool to get him on, but I knew that Sean was like not entirely sold. But listen, hey,
I mean, I was a little nervous about it.
it was, but then it's so cool to see like the podcast, you could kind of figure these things out during an episode, and I thought that was cool to talk about those hard moments in the business where it's like, yeah, you're like in charge and you have to like let go people on stuff, and yeah, I thought that was a really cool conversation.
I also sort of confronted Walter from Adult Swim about not picking up Fisthead on that episode. It's sort of just my way of like tricking people into talking with me so that I can bring up awkward things. Sorry, everyone.
I think Mark Maron made like his whole podcast was basically every time he had like a person from SNL, he would ask them like, "Why do you think they didn't bring me on the show? I auditioned. It was a good audition. Like, what do you think?" And it wasn't until he got like the head showrunner that he finally got like his cathartic answer. But it was like maybe like 50 episodes where he asked like different people the same question, and they're like, "I don't know."
That's so funny. Maybe that's what we should do with the show. I should bring oh, I can't say now. I can't say right now. It's too much drama. But I have my own demons. I'm being a coward because I'm throwing Sean under the bus right now by being like,
yeah, I'm so transparent. I've talked about how
Yeah.
many times I've gotten fired so many times on the podcast. People are so sick of hearing about me failing. And they think you're so perfect.
They think I'm so perfect, but I'm not.
It's
It's all a
unfair.
lie. It's all a lie. Wait, y'all who listen to the pod, do you remember, because I've been let go of a couple shows. I don't know if it's transpired through the podcast.
Don't think it.
You don't
No, I don't
talk
know.
about it much.
No, I haven't heard
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah,
Uh-oh!
you paint yourself in a really good light.
Mhm. Ah!
I think one of them is a good story that I think at some point, maybe in the future, would be a good story because it's like not like a common thing that happens, but it's something. It was like an uncomfortable situation that I think would be a fun story to tell. But it's also one of those where like probably would never come up.
Is this a story about you?
No, about V. I know it was a V story, but I feel like it's one of those where like
It's V's story.
it's gonna stay, V story to tell, and it's gonna be secret forever, probably.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're hinting at. I think for people, okay, so this is how we test the real fans of the pod who've like listened to all of the episodes because I have noticed that on our Discord, this is me like shamelessly plugging the Patreon, being like, if you subscribe to our Patreon, you have access to our Discord community, blah blah blah. But if you listen to a lot of the episodes, eventually you can piece together me talking about having like a bad experience on a feature film. And on the Discord, I talked a little bit about it.
Yeah. Go on V's IMDb. Through process of elimination, you'll probably be able to figure it out.
Everybody turned into a little web sleuth. I can't say the words. I think these are like these kind of stories that are a little bit hard to just be super transparent about. Obviously, with everything that we've just said in the pod, you can figure it out super easily. But because of like the IPs and stuff, like it's hard to really just kind of like, and now I say like a ton, and Clem is like FML.
Well, here's a question. What do you think was the interview that we worked the hardest to get? It could be before my time too.
Well, I can say that there's a couple interviews that we tried to reach out again and again, but then there's a moment when the guest it becomes sort of unresponsive that you just kind of drop it just because you don't want to become rude.
I've one in my mind. What comes to your mind?
I think there's been a few where it's like, just go, it's nothing against the people. It's
no. This isn't talking
busy.
shit. It's like I mean to cast it more in a mischievous light, like you can't get me, like kind of thing.
There's been a few. I was just like you're playing like email tag back and forth.
Yeah,
I would say one that's like not like we were able to get them on the show, but it was like definitely like a lot of emails back and forth. It was apartment D.
Okay,
but it was because they emailed like so early on, like before they wanted to be on the show. So we were going back and forth from like, I want to say July, of just like, oh, we, let me know when your thing's gonna drop, your pilot's gonna drop, and then we'll figure out a deadline there. And then like their pilot, like the trailer was gonna drop, so we were gonna release it then, and then their timeline got pushed back, so it was like a back and forth for I think most of October until we finally like nailed it down. But it's like nothing against them. It's like they're literally creating a thing from nothing with like a really small crew, and I was just like, yeah, just let me know and we'll schedule it. Yeah.
Well, it's great that you bring that up, Marco, actually, because for anybody who's like, I mean, anybody who's really like a hardcore fan of Creative Block, if you go on the YouTube channel and you sort all of the like interviews per latest dropped, you will see that the numbers don't really match up around that time, and that's because we create all of the promos and stuff in advance, but then we try also to accommodate the guests with the release. So you'll see that you have 186, 189, 190, 187, 191.
It really bothered our some of our more OCD afflicted fans. I think
it's no, but it's kind of, I don't know. I'm actually very excited that some people noticed it. I thought, oh, nobody's gonna care, but it's
there's someone doing
funny.
Podcast math about us.
Yeah. It's kind of fun.
So I would say for the one that comes to my mind that was a little hard to get, I feel like, was Thurup, and even so for me it was sort of a separate story too, because I had been courting him to come onto a podcast for maybe 3 years, like off and on, like messaging him on Facebook, because I used to have an interview show too on Twitch, and we would talk, and then he would say, oh, ask me in 1 month, and then we would talk again, and then he'd say like, okay, can you explain the show to me again? And then he'd be like, oh, I'm kind of shy, and then we interviewed him, and even when we got him, basically it was like, okay, you guys have 45 minutes to interview me. I have to go make mouse furniture with my kids. And I was like, whoa. And that's one of the reasons why that episode is pretty short, is normally we record for like 2 hours, and he was, and we had this very small amount of time to talk to him. So even when we got him, he was like, you know, like he was like, you can't get me for long, you know.
He's such a funny guy. He's such a funny guy.
I feel like that was a big, not like a big get, but that was like, you know, I think we go back and forth making like dream lists of guests that would be like, this would be cool, this would be awesome, and then we were able to get, you know, some big ones last year that I feel like made it seem like, oh, we could get somebody else,
and he doesn't know that he's a big get. He's one of those guests that like really doesn't know like how much his cartoons have impacted like everyone in like a lot of people in the industry.
He downplays his what is it, like fame or influence, or but he downplays himself a lot. Yeah,
his like impact on, I guess, like a period of animation when it was like there was a lot of things that came from that one from Flapjack that is kind of crazy to think about. Like there's so many like famous creative people that worked on that show that is like.
And it's cool too because we did get Alex Hirsch, we got Penn, and so now the third that we need to get from Flapjack is JG Quintel.
You got C.H. Greenblatt?
Yeah, he was on Flapjack, right? Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, but yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just naming shows, creators of shows, right?
No, people who are on Flapjack.
Oh, my bad.
Went on to be showrunners.
Yeah, have you ever seen that some nerd made like a tree of people of people that were on shows that started other shows? They made like a cartoon tree that shows like how like most people started on Flapjack and then went on to this show, and then the people that were on that show went on to this, and how the shows spidered out from one another and affected each other.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. I think I found it. What you're talking about. Okay, let me just paste it on the magma. Does that work? Yeah, it's in the middle. So if you're listening to this episode on YouTube, you can look at the YouTube video, and it's very small, but it starts all with at the very tippy top. There's Flapjack, and then it goes into Adventure Time with Penward, JG Quintel with Regular Show. And then from Regular Show, you get Infinity Train with Owen Dennis and Close Enough, still JG.
And Royals.
Yeah, and Royals. Yeah.
Royals is so good. I feel like it's like, I always bring it up as like the episodic structure of it, like they tie in together, but then each episode is like perfectly self-contained, that it's like so fun to watch them independently of them. I feel like he would be a good guest. Sean Sales.
I do too. I think the only reason I haven't tried to ask him is when I worked on Regular Show with him, he was so quiet, and so I wasn't sure. I mean, it could be the complete opposite when, you know, like there's some people when you ask them some questions, they just, you know, they can't shut up about something and they surprise you. But he was very quiet when I knew him. I would be curious if, yeah.
I remember I used to want to be on that like list so badly. I was like, I'm gonna get on the show. I'm gonna make my own show.
Yeah.
Alas, I was busy being in high school instead of working in the industry.
Yeah, I want to get onto this nerd's chart for sure.
This nerd chart.
Like, yeah, I want to be a little thing that goes off of Midnight Gospel, and also from Regular Show. And
draw yourself in.
Honestly, so true. Because I didn't start drawing until like 2016, 2017. I was in high school and I was like, let me try this thing out. I wasn't born with a pencil in my hand. It's like, man, gotta lock in. Everything kind of went sideways. And I was like, oh, never mind. Let me just put them on YouTube and call it a day.
So this 100 episodes, I feel like the show really branched out and started talking to comic people too, which I think was really cool. Can you guys, do you have any of the comic artists that you were excited about getting on the show?
As a whole, that was like, at the beginning of the year, I was like, we should be branching out towards other avenues of creative block. So that's sort of where it stemmed from. It was just like finding other avenues for creativity that would be fun to showcase in a show that's just about creativity and less about, animation in general. Because that was sort of where the direction it was heading. So I feel like a lot of the cool one I think was
the cool one.
The cool. It was
The only cool
his
one.
comics were really cool. And I'd never heard of Uchiyoma.
Oh my
Like,
god!
I was-
like his comics are so good.
I was so happy when he said yes because I had been following him for a long time. And when Clem said that they liked Uche as well, I was like, yes!
Yo, shout out to Uche for sharing my Big Man Blastoise animation and helping it pop off. Yo, thank you. You're a real one for that. Appreciate it.
Uche and he's so sweet. He's so sweet. Oh my god. Yeah, I was so glad when he said yes because I was like, well, he doesn't follow me back, so it was a shot in the dark. It was just like a DM, like a cool DM, like, oh, would you come on our show? But yeah, I'm so glad that y'all enjoyed that episode.
It's just cool. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people where like that would like like Stephen Neary. I don't think he's like a comic. I feel like he's a balance in my head. He's a balance between like comics and animation, but I think his comics are really good too.
It's a really good hybrid.
Yeah. And he's such a funny guy. Like, I had never really talked to him, so I was a little bit like, I was wondering like what the episode would feel like, but he's so kind of like quirky.
There's a lot of good facts in that one too, of like animation, background, getting started in that stuff. So it was a solid one.
The one that I thought was really fun was Michael Sweater because Marco, you reached out to him and Michael was so crazy.
So
it was
real.
a really fun
Such
one.
a real conversation. We got into. I wonder, was that one hard to edit? Because I feel like we meandered through some like. We were pontificating a little bit in that one. Like we were philosophizing, I feel like.
No, it was okay.
I don't know. What's your take on it, Clem? Was it like how was it editing the Michael Sweater episode?
I mean, it was fine. I don't have any memory of it, so that tells me it's
I was
fine.
like, fuck, I put Clem on the spot and Clem does not remember. Clem, if you're listening, can you edit this awkward part out?
I think that one was an interesting one to reach out because that week I think is when he was like, I'm gonna move every social media that I have into like my Substack and like my email newsletter. So it was like the week before I reached out and he had like all these comics and stuff that I could like reference from, and then like when we were doing the promo for the episode release, I like looked up to like, oh, whoa, what happened to everything? Like everything's gone. So it was like, I feel like he went in with like that existential crisis a little bit to the episode.
That's what I liked about it, though. It's funny because it reminded me a tiny little bit in a very different way, but it reminded me a tiny little bit about Grover Tunes, because Grover Tunes stopped social media, and that was for me, that was a very inspiring episode. Yeah. Grover Tunes was in 2023, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I also thought Jenny Gilblad was a good one. Like you got Sean. Yeah,
very scrappy.
Very scrappy, but so inspiring how she goes about like financing her art. I'm like, to me, it's so inspiring, especially for students, for people who are just like coming up and who are like worried about like never, being an artist. I'm like, no. Like, she's a great example of how you can do it all yourself.
Yeah. And I feel like this round of 100 episodes, we have ventured a little bit into the adulty, spicy area, with Balak and Jenny. I don't know if you had interviewed any folks like that previously, but.
No, Balak was a long time coming. Balak was actually 2023, but I was so happy to get him on, and it was cool to have Jenny on as well. I feel like we have one every year because this is a little preview. Wait, when is Derek coming on? Is Derek?
I think he's next. So it's like in between episode 200 and
He's
whatever the current
199.
one is. Yeah. So coming up.
We're starting.
Do we have
but
another
you're
spicy
strong.
one?
Yeah.
Well, Derek is spicy. That was a good episode too. I was really happy about that one.
Question for you guys: who's your favorite hentai artist? No, I'm just kidding. Ebuka's like, I got a few lined up, and I'm gonna shout out some profiles.
As far as like listening back to it, I think Nick Edwards was really funny.
Yeah, I really liked that one. It was so funny.
That
And
was
then
so
I
good.
went and read the entirety of Kingly in
It's
one
so
night,
good.
and I cried. It was so funny.
It's so good, dude.
It also,
Yeah.
I read it while I was a little stoned, and it was an experience.
That was like an insane comic to read
Yeah.
like Milestone, because I feel like already when you read it, when you're just like regular normal self, you're like, this is already, it feels like Mr. Bean's a little bit sometimes, because the main character is so like insane.
It makes you self-reflect. I'll just say that. Like, I don't know. It's like when, because I reread it the next day while I was sober, and it was like, it was so stupid. It was funny,
Mm-hmm.
but when I was smoking the devil's lettuce, it was so stupid that you ask yourself, I mean, it's gotta be true.
Well,
Like, that's just how some people are. And what does that say about me?
that's funny.
Am I kingly? A little bit. We all have a little kingly inside us.
You know, after that Nick Edwards interview, I had a similar feel. You know that feeling when you go on like a really good first date and you're like, I can't believe that just happened. It went so well. Like every once in a while, I finish an interview and I'm like, oh, that was a good interview. That we had good banter back and forth, and we did little bits, and like I was distracting in like a good way, not a bad way. V, have you had episodes or an episode that sticks out to you as you feeling similarly?
I don't know. I feel really good about a lot of the episodes afterwards. I think I was really excited. I don't know. I'm looking at all of them right now. I was probably really excited about Will Carsola because I was really stressed out because I love like Mr. Pickles.
Right.
And he was so sweet and very like gentle, and he's not a big talker, but I feel like we got some like really, really fun little stories out of that
I mean,
episode.
he was doing voices and bits towards the end of that episode.
Yeah. He really loosened up at the end. I don't know. It was really cool. Talking to Will. I was excited about that episode.
Clem, do you have a favorite episode this year?
Okay, I'll clean this up in post, but who was it that had a really nice voice?
Oh,
It was
episode
like
66.
Wait, is that
That's
me.
me.
You, Sean?
That's me.
I was like, it's yourself.
No. Who had a really nice voice?
I remember there was like Ty.
Yes.
Ty has, dude.
Sapphire
good
also has
voice.
a good voice.
She has a good voice.
She's
Wait,
a podcaster. But Ty had a good voice. You really like Ty's voice?
It was pleasing.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So you're listening to the podcast more as like an ASMR kind of thing. You're you're trying to find the voice textures.
Exactly. No, it's like the side effect of editing audio for podcasts is you realize when people have interesting voices.
That's
Like, even when I'm at work and there's a client that comes in and they start talking, like, I have to fight the urge to be like, you have a really nice voice. Because it's like...
I wonder, because I think Ty probably knows, because I think we've told him during the episode that we were like, wow, you have a really good podcast voice. And he also, it's not just the quality of his voice, but it's also just like he's so chill. Like the way he talks, the rhythm and the flow is just very like soothing.
I gotta start talking cooler. This next round of podcast episodes, like I'm really gonna bring the like, all right, next up, our next guest is gonna be who is well known from their comic or whatever. And I'm gonna try to like crank up the voice stuff, you know.
the like NPR voice.
Yeah, just the kind of the smoothness. Yeah, I'm gonna stop like yelling and doing abrasive stuff.
Everybody in the comments, let us know if Sean needs to be smoother.
Yeah, let me know if I need to be smoother or rougher.
Hey yo.
Yeah.
Hey yo, hey yo. Like alternatively, I could do like, you know, for the next 100 episodes, I like talk like a ghoul or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Sean, and this is my voice now.
Everybody vote no.
Vote yes if you want
Cast
ghoul
your vote.
voice. If you want ghoul voice, and I'm like, take off your skin for me so I can eat your bones. And, or if you want, hey everybody, it's me, Sean. Like, those are the two options you guys are stuck with for the next 100.
Either ghoul or
Is
Or the
ghoul
other
or
one.
sexy? Is
Ghoul
ghoul
or-
or like
sexy
phone
ghoul?
operator?
Okay, there's a third option. There's sexy ghoul who's like, hey, sweet cheeks, you're making me get out of my coffin right now. Give me a smooch.
Cast your vote. If you're in line, stay in line. Please vote. Please vote.
Wow.
You know, it's like when people are like telling me like, "Oh, I can't listen to Steve-O. His voice is all messed up," and then this is the same thing.
Dude, I can't believe he has a podcast. It's amazing. People really like him to listen to his voice all the time.
No way, really?
Well, I mean, he has a podcast. I mean, right? It does well. It does better than ours. And his voice is like...
all these people catching strays.
Isn't even picking it up.
Oh, no. Listen, it'll be in the audio file. It's not cut off on my end. You guys will...
To us, it just sounded like you were like yelling at us underwater.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's so crazy. Wow.
No, I'll probably just do regular voice this year. But for real, guys, vote in the comments, and if you want me to change everything about my voice.
No, Sean, we love your voice.
If you guys want V to change their voice, like, and like yell the whole time, what if we switch this year? What if I'm serious and like low, smooth NPR, whatever, and then you're like, wow, whoa, look at me. What about butts and exploding fucking whatever, fuck, you know?
Whatever. I thought the whole shtick was that I was supposed to never laugh ever again.
No, it's supposed to be the other people laughing.
Yeah, just scream all the time. You won't be laughing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, instead of laughing, go ha ha ha.
I wanna take a hard turn from this conversation and focus on our amazing crew again, because Sean has looked up some icebreaker questions.
Oh yeah.
We also got a couple questions from some people on our Patreon. So if we go through those, we can also go into those questions.
Okay, I want to hear from you guys especially, and I'm not going to be concise about this question, so get ready. It's just going to be in one sentence I say this. Have you ever made a prank phone call, and what was the bit?
I did make a prank phone call. I was like 13, and I called a friend's friend, and I had no plans. I was just like giggling on the phone. I hung up. They called me back. I was like, "Wow, I'm cooked." I didn't say that though.
You just called them, and you were like, hee. What?
And they're like, "Oh, who is this?" I just hung up. They called me back. I was like, "Wow, it's over." And I was like, that's awkwardly explain myself. Like, "Hey, I was prank calling you."
What did you mean to do for the prank call?
I don't know. I think
It sounds like you laughed.
The whole like, is your fridge running or something? I don't know.
Okay.
I was 13. I had no plan, but they called back, and I was like, "Wow, this is never again." So I never got prank called again. I never prank called someone again.
What about you, Marco?
I didn't do I did do prank calls. I did so I have a friend who's like a big deal graphic designer that works for Google, and at one point he was posting about like brands reaching out to people like just like randomly and like asking them to do work and like undercutting them with like their rates. So I made like a fake email for Mike's Hard Lemonade, and I wrote this really dumb email that was like, hey, like, we're trying to rebrand, like, we read your post on Facebook, like, you know, we really want to, you know, I want you to help us like change our look, you know, we'll pay you like $100 if you so it was like just like beat for beat everything he wrote down in this post, and he like posted about it on that same thread, and there was like people like piling on, and I had to be like, hey dude, I'm sorry, like I made up the Mike's Hard at gmail.com, that was me. So that was I felt really bad, and I never talked to that person again.
Oh,
Like,
it ruined your relationship.
we didn't have it wasn't a good relationship.
Now that's
to
a
start
good
with,
prank
but it
phone
was
call.
like,
I mean, he
Yeah,
sounded
it's
kind of
bad.
like a douche from what you started the story with, so.
it was
sick.
one of those like, you know, just people venting on Facebook to like their friends, and I unfortunately was on that list. So
Holy shit.
So funny.
What about you, Clem?
So, when I was in middle school,
What?
my best friend at the time, she went to a different school than I did. So, like, no one there knew me, and she had crushes on different people all the time. And so we learned about the miracle of star 67, which makes your caller ID show up as like private or unknown, I forget. And so what we would do is we would call the guys she had crushes on but who rejected her. And so let it ring. And then when they picked up, I would just scream into the phone, and then we hung up.
Wait, scream any words or just like a terrifying
No,
scream?
just scream bloody murder and hang up.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That's so scary. Oh my god. If I got that, I would die.
It was funny though.
That is a little scary. It is funny though. What about you, V? Have you made prank phone calls?
You know, I don't think I have. I'm so boring because I don't really like calling people on the phone, but I have catfished someone through Messenger.
Wait, like in a date, like in a date sense?
Not really in a date sense, but I pretended to be somebody else for a long time.
God.
Yeah,
What?
like an insane, like an actually like insane person. I was just like pretending to be somebody else.
Is it someone you still talk to today?
Crazy? No.
were you pretending to be like a celebrity or just like
No.
just another person?
Just another person. I
This
was
is
just
how
like,
This is
I was
how
kinda
V
like
comes out
LARPing.
as not V. V is not V, and has been fooling all of us, and has a different name as
Oh
a
my
different
God.
person.
I was like LARPing this like sub story of a person. Dude, it was so crazy. I was like 14, 15 around that time, and I was just like, yeah, my parents never let me out of the house.
You just like reading Harry Potter to them or something, like, oh, I live under the stairs.
What?
I kind of, yeah. I don't know, man. When I think about it, I'm very ashamed.
Dude, that
Well, you should be.
rules. That's so good. What? I like that you've chosen this podcast to talk about it. We're coming
Well,
clean. This is a
that's the
redemption
closest-
episode for you.
Sorry, redemption episode. It's the closest thing I've ever done to a prank call. Just because I don't know. Like, I haven't. Well, just like how Marco was saying that, like, they didn't call someone, but they wrote an email. So that's the closest thing that I did.
Yeah. So I had a character that I used to do, and I would call gyms, And I was a Christian virgin warrior named Cross Wingspan. And I was trying to assemble the ultimate Christian fighting team of 10 individuals to face off the 10 strongest atheists.
Wait, Sean, are you? This is crazy.
I'm
'cause
serious.
You don't even really like religion that much.
I'm serious, but so I would talk to this front desk person about how I'm a virgin and I save all the strength up in my balls and I'm much more strong than anyone else because I've never spilt my seed and I've kept it for the Lord, and you'll see in the ring. And I would try to basically I would like slowly unveil this situation, but I would start with, do you have any fighters that are of faith? You know what I mean? I'm looking for fighters that are still strong and pure. Basically.
Wait, hold on. Who are you pranking? Who is the person you're talking to?
I would call the gym front desk from like Planet Fitness and different gyms.
Oh.
But like UFC type gyms. Like I was trying to find like MMA fighters that were strong and pure and
I thought for some reason that character you just made up, his name was Jims.
No. His name was Cross Wingspan. But I also pranked a Christian prayer hotline, and the man got very mad at me. But I was like, I'm on your side. I want to find out who your strongest prayer is so I can recruit him for my team. And if and I was like, are you strong? And then his responses were actually kind of messed up. But that
Can
was
you paraphrase or like some of the stuff where they just like not interested?
He kept implying that I had a lot of childhood trauma.
Oh,
like
okay.
he would basically, he was like, who touched you? And I was like, no one. I'm pure and unspilled, and I'm a virgin fighter who's very strong. Anyway,
Wow.
that was my ongoing prank for like a while.
How long's a while?
Oh, it was like a few years. Like I would do it when my band was on tour, when we were in the car, and I would put it on speakerphone. But I mean, this is like when I was like 25. I was like I was like older than I should be doing this.
There's some guy, I was a big fan of him in high school. His name was like Larchmont Potion Castle. And he would do these like really crazy, like elaborate prank calls.
Dude, I love it.
That was like the limit. I feel like just listening to him was like, I could never do that. That's like such a good prank call.
Didn't he call like a famous game show host and was like, we're delivering like 1,000 pounds of like gravel and we're gonna dump it in your front yard and the trucks are on their way? And he's like, no, and they're like, we can't cancel the order. You're gonna have 100,000 pounds of gravel dumped. We have 4 dump trucks and they got ordered to your house. And he's like running around trying to cancel it.
Yeah,
dude, I love it.
They're good. You always have like a guy named like Usim Masson or something that was like gibberish. They're like, you signed for it, Usim Masson. He said he wanted this.
There's a French comedian that got famous for doing prank calls, and he would do these prank calls where he would set up a story with the first person. He would usually pretend to be like a little old lady, and then he would call somebody else with the same story and then pretend to be like another person and then somehow get these people to talk, and then they felt like the story was real, and I was like, wow, so intricate.
I have another question here. Do you guys have a hobby or like niche interest, fascination, whatever, with something that people might not expect from you?
I expect.
Or maybe they don't know. I mean, obviously, people don't know a lot of things about you, probably, but
I think people never expect me to be into like action figures and stuff. I think like in person, I'm like a really like straight laced, wear collared shirts every day, wear slacks every day type person. And then when it's like, oh, well, you have so many Transformers in your house, I'm like, don't worry about that, guy. Just let me have my thing, my one thing.
That's so funny because for me, I didn't expect you to be so much into fashion. And I'm like, wow, you know your stuff when it comes to fashion. But for people who know you IRL, of course they would know that because they could see.
The biggest expense, just clothes. Spy.
I'm into like cryptids and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll like stay up and watch. They're like really bad like AI rendered videos where it's like a guy doing like a shitty documentary about like the Sasquatch in Alaska. But I'll be like, damn, this is interesting. But I don't like. It's not like I don't believe that it exists. But it's like, damn, it'd be tight if it did. So I've gone through a lot. Like every single cryptid, I've watched like a video on it. And I got a hat for like the Ohio Frogman, and I've been wearing that to work.
The Ohio Frogman? I've never heard of that.
It's just like, I don't think he looks like, I think it's supposed to be like a swamp guy, but every representation of it is just like like a 6-foot tall frog just frolicking in front of them. So it's pretty good. Top tier cryptid.
Dude, cryptids are amazing, and there's this one cryptid that someone was walking in the woods and they saw a stegosaurus, and the stegosaurus said hello. there's some really good ones out there.
That's what I like about it. It's like, we saw Sasquatch. We smelled something really bad in the forest, and then we heard like monkey noises and screaming, and then that's my proof. So they're all like these like really like, you know, maybe they're just like right next to people or like right next to a zoo or something, or, you know, hearing an echo, but they're all like, this is it. Sasquatch is a beam of light that comes down in a UFO. That's why we can't take pictures of them.
That rules. What about you, Clem? Do you have some like that you're interested in?
So I listen to a lot of true crime and paranormal podcasts, and unfortunately, my latest hyperfixation is figuring out how to murder someone without getting caught.
Look out, V. Look out, V.
Whoops.
It's pretty bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I will ever murder someone, but it's very fun to plan for it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, and your first step is you can't look it up though, which makes researching hard.
Well, I mean,
Search history.
I listen. If you listen to true crime podcasts,
Yeah.
they tell you which ones got caught and why.
Yeah.
And so, and I read a few like.
You have to do it in different states because they don't like cooperating with one another. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, if you okay, here's my hot tip. Actually, it's not a hot tip. Don't follow this tip, please.
Guys, tutorial
But-
time.
Yeah,
kill
no, yeah,
kill
for
and get
real.
away with tutorial
Murder
time.
101 for noobs. So if you want to kill someone you know, you have to shift the blame to their partner. And if you want to kill your partner, don't do it. You will get caught. But if you want to know what murder is like and you don't have a specific target, just pick someone you have no affiliation to in a different state, and it'll be a lot harder to get caught.
And you got to change the way you kill people, because if there's too many
Yeah.
patterns, then there's. It's so silly when people are like, "I'm the smiley face burglar," and like, and it's like, well, you know, we're tracking all your stuff, we're adding the evidence up.
Yeah.
I know.
And if the cops never find the body, the chances of getting caught are very, very low.
In my run, I'm in a criminology
So, like-
major, and we
Oh,
went
because
over.
you did study forensics, right?
Yeah, I was in class, and it is a case of like the cops either know who it is or they don't, and if they don't know who it is, you're pretty much scot free. Like it's very rare for them to like sleuth it and be like, oh, it was that guy after 5 years. It's like, oh, we don't know who it is. Off to the next one. But yeah.
That's so crazy.
So,
What if like after this podcast, like when creative block is over or whatever, like Ebuka becomes the cop and Clem becomes like the murderer,
that'd be funny.
and then that's the whole show, and then they're like, "Oh, I remember you from back in the day when we did the podcast together," and it's like this whole thing.
Yeah, I'll
That'd
let
be
slide
funny.
this
Oh my
time.
gosh.
But
Yeah, Abuka's writing a book or like making a documentary about how you can solve any case and crack any case, and Clem's making a documentary about how you can get away with any murder. It'll all decide it. Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, so whenever someone's like, "Oh, penny for your thoughts," I'm like, I think you should keep your penny. That's you don't want to know. Because my favorite fact recently is that trees eat bones, and people don't like hearing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can like
Yeah.
put bones inside a tree trunk. Is that what you mean?
If you have potted plants, especially like the bigger ones, and you have like steak bones, you can bury it in the pot, and within a week it might be gone.
Wow.
Because plants are so deficient in calcium and other minerals that are in bones, so they just slurp that shit
Yeah,
up.
just be careful because some people get like hip replacements or they get like certain things that don't.
Oh, yeah.
Certain trees can't eat all the stuff inside of people, you know?
Yeah. So yeah. I when I tell people that fact, they're like, "Why do you know that?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's neat.
That is neat.
I need help."
Somebody call 911 right now.
We need a
Somebody
less.
This
stop
is just
me.
a cry for help.
We need a less illegal interest for you, for the 300th episode. What about you, V? Do you have a special niche fascination recently?
I don't know. I feel like I'm very. I mean, I do listen to a lot of true crime as well. I love true crime. But I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see if there's something else. I'm very much of a one-track mind, which makes it.
People know all your projects. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
I just mostly like think about comics and stories and true crime.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean that's cool. I mean you got a lot of very public hobbies, I feel like.
Yeah,
Your interests are kind of public, I feel like.
I think so.
Dude, I am really into treasure hunting and metal detecting kind of videos and gold hunting stuff.
That's funny.
Like I watch a lot of I watch a lot of treasure hunting videos, and recently I got a metal detector and I'm gonna go try to find stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
So-
hit me up. I want to go and look for metal on the beach. That
Yes!
sounds fun.
That does sound really fun.
Yeah, it's
you know
so
you're just
nerdy,
gonna, like,
dude.
dig up like trash, but
I know,
it's just
I know.
fun.
It's
just
gonna be
when it goes,
coins.
Like, beep, 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 beep. It's just
Dude, it's so sick. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, so like when I'm an old man, I want to be like one of those little old guys with like a metal detector on the beach. And she was like, "Why are you waiting until you're old?" And I was like, "I don't know." she ordered one for me and surprised me.
That's so sweet. Okay, well, if we talk like kind of random interests, maybe I could say I've been really into birds. I watch a ton of bird videos, and now I know a lot of like, especially parrots. I know a lot of parrot facts.
Are you getting a bird soon? Are you gonna get a bird?
No,
You're getting a bird. You're getting a bird.
It's too much work. It like birds they're a lot of work because
Yeah.
they're very smart. So you have to keep them super entertained, and I don't think I have
Well,
enough free
it depends on what kind of bird you get. If you get some finches or something, you don't need to. But if you get a parrot, then yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. That's what I spent a lot of time watching is parrots.
My mom bred birds when I was growing up, so our house sounded like a rainforest every morning.
That's so cool.
My mom was a bird lady.
Birds are so cute. I used to think birds were like so not interesting and kind of like not yucky, but I was just like, ugh, I didn't
And
really
then you
get
started
it.
watching videos of crows and ravens and stuff, like solving
Exactly.
puzzles.
Yeah, and then you were like, oh, I get it.
Hell yeah.
Even like macaws or like cockatoos or like the ones that are like really really fun are these like Amazon little parrots, and they can't talk, but they're like little clowns. They just gotta like hop around and do like lots of little tricks. They're so cute.
What do we talk about after birds?
That's it. That's the end.
That's the end.
Birds are the end point.
They're end game.
Let's see. There's a question. What's the weirdest gift you ever received? Have you guys ever gotten a weird gift or a gift you hate? Like maybe it's the worst gift. What's the worst gift? Have you guys ever got a bad gift?
Yeah. I got 1 year. I was with. It was a bad relationship just off the bat, and they got me it was like one of those like Prank Spencer's birthday gifts,
Ah.
but it was like emergency like diapers, and I pulled it out of the thing and I was like, "What is it?" It's like it took me like a solid minute to like understand what I was looking at because I was so confused as to like why someone would spend money on it. So it was like my brain was just processing it in real time that like, you know, this is a weird thing to give someone that you're in a relationship with.
That's sick. Classic. That's some high school shit where you're like, I got you this like goofy Spencer's Gifts thing. I love it.
So crazy.
Anybody else bad gift? Or have you given a really bad gift?
When I was younger, it wasn't that they were bad gifts. It's just they were gifts I really didn't want.
This is from V.
Yeah.
This is a gift from V, isn't it?
That would have been so funny though if it was
like day one. I didn't want a sister.
Oh my God. I mean, one of our sisters didn't want me to be born.
Classic.
But okay, so it was in elementary, and there were these like dolls that were super popular at the time. But for my birthday, I had specified I only want either gift cards to the specific toy store, or I want the Playmobil Dragon series that had just come out and I was so excited for. And so one of my friends bought me like 3 items of the doll collection, and they were like nice gifts, but I had to just smile and nod the entire time she was there. And so the next day I told my mom, can we go to Toys R Us and return all of these so I get money so I can buy dragons, please?
Oh my God.
So I did that, got the whole dragon collection, and then the next day at school, the girl comes up to me and is like, so how do you like the dolls? And I'm like, they're great. Thank you so much for your gifts.
And she's
I
like,
really
"Prove it.
appreciate it.
Prove it. Show me pictures.
So, I mean, I still have all the Playmobiles because they're my favorites, and I'm never getting rid of them.
That's so funny.
For my gift, it's a bit of a spicy story, so I'm not sure it's gonna be allowed on the on the pod. But
It's
I was in
allowed.
college, not now, but like this is 2020, December, and one of my classmates was like, I'm gonna get you a dildo for Christmas. And I was like, okay, guy, that's awesome. And one thing led to another, and it was the biggest one they could find. Like, I don't want to do with this thing, but gift is a gift. And
Do you still have it?
no.
Yeah, I still gotta hang my coats off of it.
No, imagine if it's because you know how like sometimes you can get like really sentimental over like, well, I can't get rid of it. It's a gift. Like this person really cared about me. It's a gift. And
It was always a gag gift, but it was just like I've always never thought I'd be gifted. This is the number one.
That's
But
so fun.
that's college for you.
That's the kind of weird gift I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because my roommate, when I first got here in LA, for my birthday, she did get me a gift card to a sex shop. She was like, women to women, we gotta like, I don't know. It was like kind of like framed under this kind of like sex positive women empowerment thing, and I was like, pretty cool. I was like, I respect that.
I didn't see this, but my RA from first semester was like they're doing like a housing check to make sure you have no like contraband in your room, and the person had like 10 dildos and like sizing down from like so on, just like a little staircase in their dorm. I was like, man,
Monday through Friday.
it's like that's cool, but
It looks like service bars. Like,
oh no,
oh my goodness.
that's college for you. It's just homework. Wanted to
Homework
drop
and
out
dildos, dude.
yeah,
That's most of college.
just those 2 things, nothing else.
Built on the back of homework and dildos.
I built this degree dildo by dildo.
That's so funny. Wait, listen. No, we don't have to keep talking about this, but
he wants to talk about this. Hold on.
let's just say there's an episode of High Moon Queen that we just finished the boards on, and the name of the episode is Dildo Wall, and High Moon Queen has a wall of dildos, and I had to look up so many pictures of dildos for this episode.
Uh-oh, your algorithm's gonna be messed up.
You couldn't just make them up. You had to look at reference.
Well, listen, I'm not that imaginative. What do you...
Yeah. That's funny. That's fun. I just imagine like all these tabs up and you're like doing research. You have your little research glasses on.
I like it's gotta have variety.
But it's like the more non-dildo it is, the funnier it is. Like, if it looks like a real one, it's not as funny as if it looks like it wouldn't even be able to go anywhere because of how unwieldy it is.
That's true.
That's true. It's something you're always towing the line in between. Is this recognizable as a dildo, and is it so ridiculous that it's funny? And that's the line that you had to contend with.
Yeah, that's a good tip for like character designers and like prop designers.
Oh, we're folding it back into the podcast. Yes. Yeah, informational.
Design the most non-dildo dildo, and that's how you make it.
Yeah, my recommendation is look up. There's a lot of different weird animal penises out there, like ones that like fork into two, ones that like spiral. Use stuff like that as reference, and I think that you'll make a dildo that no one's ever even invented.
What an insane sentence. What an insane conversation.
I know, right?
Character designers out there, prop designers, that if you're listening. Yeah.
Sean, do you have a...
Yeah, my
gift?
it's not as funny as your guys' spicy dildo gift, but one time I got all my friends to agree to go down to the Jersey Shore with me to my grandma's house for my birthday, and we all went, and we were like sitting around, and they made my grandma made like macaroni and cheese or whatever, and then my parents brought out my gifts, and my main gift in front of all my friends was a 12-pack of Slim Fast.
Oh no!
And I was like, and my friends were like, "Damn, your parents!" They fucking roasted me till the end of time. They're like, "Dude, your parents think you're too fat, dude. Dude, all you get for your birthday is Slim Fast. You broke fat bitch."
That is brutal. What the
and I think that at the time I was like going on jogs a lot, and I was more health conscious. I was swimming, and so like my parents probably like meant well, you know what I mean? But like to open that in front of my friends who are all just like bad people, you know what I mean? Like I'm not bringing around, you know, so at that age, friends might as well be your greatest enemy, like especially if you're a boy, just purple nurpling and ragging on each other, and but yeah, so that's one of the worst gifts I think I've gotten.
So sad.
Did you ever like bring it up to your parents? So like that was the worst.
I did. I was like, dude, that was so embarrassing. You guys are nuts. And I remember like my and like there was another present. My grandma every year, like she just gave me a bag of pistachios for my birthday, like a little bag. And so like it was like Slim Fast cute. And a bag of pistachios, and they were like, "Dude, fucking happy birthday, dude! That's lit, you fucking bitch." And I was like, "No."
I feel like this sounds like the kind of gift that you would get like in the war, you know, like here's an orange, my boy, you know, like feed yourself.
and then I remember on that same birthday, I was like, "Dude, guys, let's go down to the corner store. There's lots of good snacks there or whatever. Let's, you know, take a walk." And my parents were like, "You guys don't go more than a block away." But the corner store was like 3 blocks away. And we went, and my parents found out, and my dad yelled and then made us all get in the car and drove us home all angry, like from the beach, and just like cut the trip short. So overall, it was probably one of my worst birthdays. But just I'm just
That's so crazy.
That reminds me. I had a friend who he's a big Dodger fan, and so he invited all his like closest friends to this bar to see like a Dodger game, and it was like probably the worst the Dodgers had ever lost. And as soon as the game ended, everyone's saying happy birthday to him. So that's why I imagine what the car ride home was like. You're the saddest you've ever been, and then you're like, happy birthday, Shaw.
happy birthday. Have you seen that trend where instead of singing happy birthday, the whole group will just go birthday, 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 and it'll be like 12 people just saying, like, chanting that, and the person whose birthday is being like, oh, I'm so creeped out, this is crazy, it's like everyone's possessed.
No,
like
I have
that.
not seen this.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's a really cool trend. I recommend it.
What app? Y'all, you have, okay, everybody listening, you have to know.
What's your favorite
Sean,
app?
Sean sends me the most unhinged videos in the
No, don't. I'm hell bent on absolutely ruining V's algorithm, and I send. It's cringe. It's just absolutely deviant. Like
the latest. Can I say the latest
yeah,
one?
yeah.
The latest one, it broke me. Basically. You have these two guys, you could say, like, conventionally attractive guys, but then it written above their head is, well, a dad and a son. And then you have, like, these two beautiful women that kind of, like, swing in and fall into their arms.
And they're twins.
And then it says, marries the twins. And you're like, what the fuck?
And then this guy works out the math on paper. He makes a chart, and he's like, wait. So if they have kids, then they're their own mom, they're their own kid's son or brother, and they're their own grandmother to their wife or whatever. Like it like if you cross them all up, like
because the thing is, like, because the son and the dad are dating twins,
mm-hmm.
then you're like, well, yeah, if they get married and they have children, then the child, like, now they're all like by marriage, they're like everybody's step moms and steps dad, and so it means they're step brothers and step sisters. So it's just, and I was like watching this.
Your dad is also your step brother.
Exactly. And I was like, I was not mad at you.
I was losing it because it just went deeper and deeper. This chart was getting filled up with, like, you know, if those people have kids, what are the kids known as? And then, yeah, no, I'm for sure. I just nonstop send V like the worst stuff possible.
Internet cringe, and I try to counteract it with, like, cute cats and cute birds, but it's too much. He sends too many.
Sorry, dude. Sorry, dude. I'm trying to ruin your experience. My bad.
It's funny. Every time I see them, I always show them to Justin because I'm like, look at this shit.
Has he been like, can you stop talking to this person?
No.
Can you please stop talking to Sean?
No, I think some of the stuff you send sometimes he's like, it's pretty funny.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Little imaginary fist bump. Thanks,
yeah.
Justin.
For a while, and I'm wondering, from our council of the crew, Ebuka, Clem, Marco, any words of wisdom you want to share with people who want to start a podcast or just for life in their life.
like serious advice?
No, it could be anything.
Be any kind of advice you want.
Be more weird.
I don't know. Something I'm thinking about. This is serious advice. I don't know. It's on my heart though, so I gotta share with the class. I think choose your friends wisely, in the sense that
you've been betrayed recently.
That's not that.
Yes. Oh, tell us. Oh no, we'll talk afterwards. Or share.
It's more like not everyone's your friend. Not in a bad way either, but more like some people are just acquaintances. Some people are like, you know, just buddies you have class with. And I think that sometimes, at least for me, I give like acquaintances like friend privileges and friend expectations when it's like, nah, they're not nothing wrong with them. We're just acquaintances. So I think since knowing that, I'm able to be better at choosing who I hang around and talk to and stuff. And it's made my quality of life and relationships a lot better. Or something, I don't know. I'm just yapping.
That's very good, actually. That's a good wisdom. Very good wisdom.
Damn, that's realness. I didn't expect to get into realness. This is valuable.
Don't be a perfectionist either. There we go. That's creative advice. Don't be perfectionist. Just make the thing and then let it be done.
Very good advice. Very good wisdom. Do we have wisdom from maybe Marco?
Like just in general wisdom or like podcast wisdom?
Both.
It can be anything. Any kind of wisdom you want.
I feel like all my wisdom is tied into writing, but yeah, I think the funner thing about writing is less of, I guess, like when you're starting out, is less of like getting really good at like the technical aspect of it, because that takes like a really long time to get good at, like structuring a sentence in a fancy way, or like thinking of ideas like long term if you're writing like a big book or something. I feel like the cooler thing early on to get good at it is just like throwing stuff at the wall and like just trying out different things just to find out what you really like, or just like what you can do really well, and then just start from there, as opposed to like, let me get good at it and then I'll go back and figure out how to actually do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like podcast stuff, I feel like it's hard. I feel like the world changes so fast technologically, and like I feel like artists kind of suffer the same thing of like everything changes so quickly that you kind of have to catch up a little bit. So that's the harder part, is like probably understanding how to do it eventually is the harder part.
Yeah.
That's the goal, I think. Year 5, we'll figure it out.
I think something like on that topic, kind of like things going quickly, is don't give release dates to your stuff until it's actually done. It's gonna stress you out. I feel like, guys, new stuff on next Tuesday. You're gonna be stressing anything out by next Tuesday. So I think just if you're making something, whether it be a podcast or animation or a comic, just don't give me a release date till it's actually done. You can say, oh, it's done now. It's coming out next Tuesday. And you know for sure. I just schedule that thing and it's good to go. So you don't like grinding and like stressing and putting stuff off and being all frazzled to kind of set these arbitrary dates of when something should come out.
Or you do the opposite, where it's like you're like, oh, I'm gonna give myself a deadline of a week, but all that stuff is already done. So you're just like, how are they doing it? They're posting so often. Like they're working on it. Like 2 days ago, they posted work in progress, and now it's done. Like what the hell?
They're a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. What about you two, V and Sean? What's your awesome advice?
My advice is never give up.
Nice.
Just stay alive. Just
Stay
keep
alive.
existing.
Yeah.
I mean, low key, that's kind of, if there's anything that we do right, I think, about this podcast, I'm sure there's a million things that we could do differently and become more viral or whatever. At the end of the day, we keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And 200 episodes it's not nothing. That's 200 guests, or a little less than that, but like that's a lot of guests to organize. This is a lot of people to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going. Keep doing it.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop. But I think consistency too is like it's actually, consistency is harder than you think to achieve it, and I think it's harder than you think, but it's also not, it doesn't require a lot of skill, if that makes sense. Being consistent is just like willpower, I guess. So I don't know. I'm saying that in a way that I hope it's encouraging for people who listen, is like, like sticking to it,
Lately, I've been thinking about momentum a lot. So recently I had a short do well when I posted it online. And this isn't just algorithm stuff. This is like for you and for motivation and for I think that a lot of the best results end up happening when you're not trying to just like start from nothing and explode. Like there's a gradual build up, and then it's easier to maintain your speed or maintain your productivity or maintain your ideas when you're already in the habit of doing that. So, in my case, it's like, okay, this thing came out, and so I'm posting more often and engaging with social media more, and I've been seeing new audience, and that's awesome. But also, there's something to be said about motivation or momentum in your personal work, and also giving yourself a break when you don't have momentum going, and you're like, why am I not going 90 miles an hour? And you're like, well, because I've been going like 5 miles an hour. I gotta, sorry about all the car analogies, but we gotta ramp up speed to get there. So I've just been thinking about momentum a lot.
Nice.
I don't know if that's
Was that
advice,
like
but
this is like a random question more to both of you. Like, was that something you were thinking about like early on, like momentum, like when you're just starting out, like, oh, I'm just picking up steam now, I'm getting good?
A lot of the way that I personally work is motivation based, which I would consider tied to momentum. Like, if I get an idea, it might be at 11 o'clock at night, but while I'm excited about that idea, I let that excitement fuel what I do next, and I let that momentum, even if it's kind of irresponsible of me, I will stay up all night and make a thing in like one night if I'm excited about something. And I use momentum a lot tied in with being motivated, and that is something that I started doing when I was younger. If I got excited about an idea, I would work on that idea as much as I possibly could while I was still excited about that idea, because I was so scared of losing that excitement and spark and not finishing it. So sort of.
Yeah, I think it's true. I do say, I've probably talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but I do think like when you get started, like especially for me, challenges like Inktober have been so crucial because they're a good way to start like drawing one thing a day for a month, and then you get in this rhythm. And I think you need to think about inertia. So I think momentum and inertia is kind of like the same thing, where it's like at the beginning it's very, 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 very hard to get drawing every day or get motivated to be creative. But once you get that ball rolling, it's so much easier. Like you actually get excited to come back to it. Whereas at the beginning, when that like boulder is standing still there and it's really, really hard to push, it feels like, oh, it's going to be like this every time I want to be creative, and it's going to be awful, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. But if you have a little challenge that helps you push the boulder a little bit every day, then eventually gets rolling, and then it's fun, and that's what I would imagine momentum to be. And that's why I do like to have a regular practice with anything that I do, with whether that it is doodling or doing comics or whatever. I think, or even going to the gym. If you stop going to the gym for 2 weeks, it gets really, really hard to go back and like start like running again or whatever. But if you go every day, then it's not as bad. So
Inertia and momentum are going to be my children's names.
it's pretty cool.
Just kidding.
Good names.
You know what's another good name? It's creative and block. And with that,
Yeah.
Block is the son I don't like.
You're my favorite creative. I love you.
Get out of here, Block. I don't want to see your face.
You blockhead!
Maybe the creative block was the friends who made it along the way.
Well, that's the end of you, Creative Block.
Are we vanquishing Creative Block once and for all?
Yeah, we're getting
Cancel
rid of them.
culture finally got it.
Marco, Ebuka, and Clem, thank you so much for coming on the pod. These episodes are so fun. It's so fun to hang out and just catch up in that way.
Thank you.
I haven't heard your voices in a long time.
You heard us like 2 weeks ago.
And I straight up don't even know if I know what Clem looks like. Very mystery character for me.
Oh, I don't have a physical form.
So afterwards,
I just appear.
Afterwards, Clem, send me a picture of you. I'm gonna find out what Clem looks like so that I can draw Clem next time instead of a blank face with Clem written. Thanks to our listeners too. Follow us on social media at CRTV Block, where we ask for drawing prompts and questions to ask our guests. Huge thanks to our editor Clemens, bam, for editing the podcast. Marco, bam, for helping us produce the show. Ebuka for creating the short clips we've been putting out. Bam!
They've all been bammed. If you love our show, then support us on Patreon. Becoming a patron gets you early access to interviews and access to our Discord community. You can click the link in the description of this episode to find our Patreon, but also to find Ebuka's short that he just put out.
Yeah, watch it. Share with your friends.
Share it. It's very fun and really cool. There's a lot of hard work went into it. Let's see. Another great way you can support us is by interacting with the content. You can like, subscribe, comment, all these good things. I've been your host, V.
And I was Sean. Keep being creative, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.